The night shift at Arden Technologies always hummed with the gentle, ghost-like silence that came only after thousands of people had finally abandoned the building. For Ethan Hale, that silence was a luxury he rarely found anywhere else. As a single dad with 2 part-time jobs, debt collectors marking their calendar with his name, and a 7-year-old daughter with chronic asthma who needed constant medication refills, peace was something he normally had to sacrifice. But the halls of this corporate tower, polished to reflective shine, gave him a moment to breathe. Just a moment. He pushed his cleaning cart forward, the wheels squeaking in their familiar rhythm. He was exhausted. Bone deep, soul deep exhausted, but he kept moving. He always kept moving, because if he stopped, everything in his life felt like it might collapse on top of him. The backpack slung across his shoulder held Lily's inhaler, just in case the after-school program called again. They often did. Lily's lungs didn't care if her dad was halfway through mopping a corporate floor. Ethan glanced toward the elevator leading to the top floor, the CEO's suite. Technically, janitors were not required to clean there until after 1 a.m. Rumor had it that Cassandra Arden, the infamous youngest CEO in the company's history, often stayed late. People said she had ice in her veins. They said she didn't smile, didn't laugh, didn't tolerate mistakes, didn't believe in mercy. He didn't know her personally, but he believed it. He had seen her pass through the lobby once, surrounded by terrified managers. Her heels clicked like a countdown. Her eyes were laser sharp. The air shifted around her as if even oxygen was scared to be in her way. So, naturally, Ethan avoided her whenever possible. Their worlds were not meant to touch. She was a billionaire powerhouse. He was the janitor barely hanging on. But tonight he'd been told to clean early because there was an inspection in the morning. So up he went. The CEO floor was bright, painfully bright, as if the place refused to sleep even when everyone else did. Ethan walked into the large corner office, assuming she had already left. The desk was immaculate, except for one thing, a sleek silver laptop, open, its faint glow illuminating the room. Ethan didn't think much of it. He set his mop bucket down, humming quietly. The mop glided across the marble floor, catching reflections of the city lights outside. He had just turned when he heard a soft click from the door. He froze. Cassandra Arden stepped inside. She wasn't on her phone. Or rather, she was, but her attention wasn't on him yet. "I'll send the documents in a few minutes," she said, voice sharp but exhausted. "Yes, I know what time it is. No, I don't need sleep. I need this company stable." Ethan felt panic crawl up his spine. He was not supposed to be here. Not when she was here. Not in her office. He moved to step back, but his heel nudged the mop bucket. And in one catastrophic, slow-motion moment, the bucket tipped. The water sloshed. Ethan reached for it, missed, and the shimmering arc of water landed directly on her open laptop. A sickening hiss filled the air. Sparks. A flicker. Then the bright screen went black. Cassandra's phone slipped from her hand and clattered to the floor. Her mask, the cold, terrifying mask, cracked. "What did you just do?" Her voice wasn't sharp anymore. It was trembling. The CEO, trembling. Ethan's heart plummeted. I'm so sorry, ma'am, I didn't know you were. I'll pay for it." "No, I won't. I mean, I can't, but I'm so. Do you have any idea what was on that screen?" She whispered, stepping forward like she was sleepwalking. Ethan swallowed hard. "Business files. Documents. I know you're not business." Her voice shattered into a whisper. "Something I can never replace." She moved past him, dropping into her chair. Her eyes glistened. She wasn't looking at him. She wasn't even looking at the ruined laptop. She stared at the air, at the empty space where the last thing she saw had been. "No, no, no," she clutched the sides of the desk, knuckles going white. Ethan had never seen someone so powerful look so broken. "It was a video," she whispered. "The last video my mother ever recorded. Before she died." Ethan froze. His breath stalled. So that was the fear he heard in her voice. Not anger. Not power. Something far more human. I'm so sorry," he whispered. "Is there any backup?" She shook her head. It wasn't stored anywhere else. It was too old to upload to our archives. That laptop was the only place it existed. The only copy. Gone because of him. Ethan felt sick. Cassandra's shoulders shook, but she wasn't crying. She refused to. She had spent years burying her emotions under steel. Tonight, the steel was cracking. Listen, Ethan said softly, stepping closer. I know I'm just the janitor, but I can try to help. She looked up, anger flaring, until she saw something unexpected in his eyes. Not fear, not guilt, determination. Help, she repeated. How? Before everything happened in my life, I studied computer engineering. I know how to recover data. She blinked, stunned by this information. Please, she whispered, if you can save even a part of that video, I will do anything. And in that moment, neither of them were who the world assumed they were. She wasn't a ruthless CEO. He wasn't the invisible janitor. They were two broken people clinging to the same fragile hope. Part 2. Ethan gently lifted the ruined laptop into his hands as if it were a wounded animal. Cassandra hovered behind him, her breathing uneven, her eyes red but stubbornly refusing to let tears fall. They walked down the hallway, past polished walls and frosted doors, until they reached the supply room, a cramped space filled with cleaning chemicals, spare bulbs, paper towels, and Ethan's old, battle-scarred laptop. Cassandra paused at the doorway, visibly out of place. Her expensive heels didn't belong on this cheap tile. Her perfectly tailored suit didn't blend with dusty shelves. Her presence shrunk the room, but her vulnerability made it feel strangely intimate. Ethan set her laptop on the work table and pulled out a tiny toolkit from his backpack. You carry that around? She asked softly. Lily's nebulizer, he said. Kids' medical machines love breaking at the worst moments. Her expression shifted. Something gentle flickered behind her icy exterior. Your daughter, she's sick. Asthma, he said, the serious kind. Their eyes met for a brief second, longer than two strangers should hold a gaze, and then Ethan gently opened the back panel of her laptop. How did you learn all this? Cassandra asked, her voice quiet, as though afraid of breaking the air itself. I was studying engineering before, he said. Before my ex left, and Lily got sick. I dropped everything to work full-time. Her lips parted. A whisper slipped out. I'm sorry. I didn't know. You weren't supposed to know, he said with a tired smile. You're the CEO. I'm the guy who empties trash cans. But people have whole lives behind whatever job title they wear. Cassandra lowered her gaze as if the words hit too close. I know what it's like, she murmured. People think they know who I am too. They think I'm stone, but they don't see the pieces holding the stone together. Ethan paused, not from the screws, but from her honesty. Cassandra Arden, the CEO who terrified entire departments, was confessing something real. Something fragile. But he didn't push. He returned to work. Minutes passed. The SSD came free. Cassandra leaned forward. Instantly. Will that save it? He nodded slightly. If the drive survived the water, we have a chance. They moved to his old laptop, battered and covered in stickers Lily had added. Rainbows, stars, and little cartoon animals. Cassandra stared at it like it was a portal to another universe. Ethan slid the SSD into an adapter, his fingers careful, steady. Cassandra clasped her hands together, praying without saying the words. The screen flickered. Once. Twice. Then. It lit up. A file directory appeared. Cassandra gasped so sharply Ethan thought she'd fall. There it was. Mom, final recording. She reached toward the screen with trembling fingers, afraid the words might vanish if she touched them. Ethan clicked the file. The video loaded slowly. Too slowly, like even the universe wanted to make her wait just another second. Then her mother appeared on the screen. Soft smile. Gentle eyes. A quiet bedroom in the background. Cassandra collapsed to the floor as if her legs finally gave out. A small, broken sound escaped her throat. She hugged her knees, but her emotions spilled over anyway, tears streaming freely now that she knew the memory was safe. Ethan sat beside her in silence. Not intruding, not pitying, just being there. When Cassandra leaned into him, head resting on his shoulder, it felt natural, not strange. Like she had finally found a place where she didn't have to be strong. "Thank you," she whispered. "You don't understand. This video, it's the last time she told me she loved me. I thought I'd lost her all over again." Ethan swallowed the tightness in his chest. He had lost people too. He understood the kind of grief that never healed, only hid. "I'm glad I could help," he whispered. "You shouldn't have had to go through that alone." She turned her face slightly toward him, eyes shining even through the tears. "Would you stay just until it finishes?" He nodded without thinking. The video played to the end. Cassandra's mother spoke softly, lovingly, offering advice for a future she knew she wouldn't see. When the screen finally darkened, Cassandra wiped her eyes with the back of her hand, breath shaky. "You saved the most important thing in my life," she said, voice fragile but sincere. "I owe you more than a thank you." Ethan shook his head. "You don't owe me anything." "Yes," she insisted softly, "I do." She looked at him with a new expression, one that wasn't cold, or frightened, or shattered. Something warmer, something searching. "You said you wanted to be an engineer," she whispered. "Let me help you, not because I pity you, but because you deserve the life you were meant to have." Ethan froze. He felt the weight of her words settle inside him like a rising sun. "You're offering me a job?" he asked slowly. "A future," she corrected. "Work for me, not as a janitor, as who you truly are." His breath trembled. Hope, real, dangerous hope, flared in him for the first time in years. I don't know what to say." She reached out and gently took his hand. "Then don't say anything," she murmured. "Just don't disappear from my life after tonight." And in the dim light of the supply room, amidst old brooms and forgotten boxes, something shifted between them, something powerful and new. Their worlds had collided by accident. But what grew in the aftermath no longer felt like an accident at all.